What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners lose 8-4 to the Marlins. They fall to 14-12 on the season. If you guys can do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new or lurking. Thank you, everybody. 4,500 subs. Thank you all so much. Truly blessed and honored for that. And comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. Guys, this is going to be a real quick one. Just brutal if the Logan Gilbert injury is serious. I don't know what else to say. I mean, all the highs of that road trip might just be undone in one pitch, one inning, of a game tonight. Not here to speculate, not here to, I'm not a doctor, not even close. But forearm tightness never sounds great. Dan Wilson post game. For those that don't know, Logan Gilbert left after 3 innings with forearm tightness. Post game, Dan Wilson just kind of said, we'll know more tomorrow. I was kind of hoping, praying against odds that Dan would come out and just say, hey, we think he's fine, but we just want to be cautious in April. So there's no reason to push it, but Logan's fine. Didn't quite get that. Nothing super negative, but just very, Dan was kind of, I don't know. Just we'll know more tomorrow. It's already rotations down George Kirby, and he hasn't started a rehab assignment yet. He's been throwing, but till he's out on a mound, it's hard to really get a sense of how far away he is. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm not. I'm a positive person by nature, but I'm also a Mariners fan, so negativity is just a part of it. Hopefully Logan's okay. I don't know else to say. That the game itself not super important. The health of Logan Gilbert is way more important than a win or a loss. Good example would be if the Mariners won, but Logan's out for the year. That's awful. If the Mariners lost, which they did, but we find out, hey, Logan's just going to miss 1 or 2 starts, then it's fantastic news. So it's hard for me to really jump into this game too much. I think they would have won it if Logan stayed out there and was able to pitch through it. He was looking good through 3 innings. The velocity was down a little bit. I actually didn't notice it because he seemed pretty dialed in, and I just don't watch the velocity on every pitch, unless there's something just truly looks off, and it really didn't from Logan for the first 3 innings. He looked fine. Then you notice the velocity was down, not a ton, but it was down a little bit in this game. But if, Logan stayed healthy and pitched this game, I think the Mariners probably do win this one because he looked really dialed in early on. Mariners certainly did have a chance to win it. They were up 1-0 in the 5th. By the way, maybe the quickest I've ever seen a game to get to the top of the 5th inning. I think we were like 45 minutes into it, and it was top of the 5th. Dylan Moore makes a brutal error. I'm not going to get on the guys too much. I mean, it's got to be tough when your ace, probably your best pitcher, goes out with an injury. And they probably heard it was forearm tightness. They're in the dugout, so they, the mind immediately goes to where it goes. TJ and stuff like that with the arm, forearm, elbow, all that stuff. So I'm sure they all weren't in the right state of mind either. Now they're professionals. You got to bounce back and still play the game. That's part of it. That's an error that Dylan Moore can't make in the 5th inning there. It's funny. The batter wasn't even, I don't even know who the batter was. I don't even care, but he wasn't even running out of the box. He kind of threw his bat in frustration. I mean, if Dylan Moore just stops that ball, he could have walked the dang thing over to first base and gotten him out. But then 6 unearned runs end up getting scored that inning. I mean, just the absolute cherry on top of the you-know-what Sunday that inning. Kudos to Casey Lawrence. I do want to say that, man. He went out there today, short notice, didn't know he'd have to come to the game in the 4th inning. The poor guy's probably going to get DFA'd tomorrow for a roster move. I think it's the 3rd time he's been DFA'd already this season. That's a tough gig, and I respect guys like that because, he knows out on the mound there, this is probably it. I forgot who tweeted out. Someone's like, dude, this guy's 37. He's got a mid-80s fastball. Any pitch could be his last pitch in the bigs, and he's going out there with the team knowing they just lost their best starter, hopefully, best news possible, but that happens, and he's got to go out there and fill in some innings for them and try to keep them in this game. And he actually did. I mean, if Dylan Moore makes that play, he's out of the 5th. Yes, he could have gotten another out. Errors happen, but when you're Casey Lawrence, it's harder to play with 4 outs. Like Logan, Kirby, Munoz, Wu, Miller, all the great Felix Hernandez, guys like that. Yeah, they can try to get 4 outs in an inning, right? Like they're good enough to do it. Casey Lawrence isn't those guys, so asking him to get 4 outs in an inning is a lot more difficult. I didn't really get why he was still out there in the 8th inning. To be honest, the Mariners did cut it to 6-4 on Jorge Polanco's 3-run home run. He continues to stay hot. I thought, listen, I know the bullpen's taxed. You probably didn't have Munoz tonight. You may not have had Spire, maybe not Thornton either, but I feel like you went to Bizzardo in the ninth. You could have gone to Bizzardo in the eighth there. Maybe it's just hard for me to really get critical about the game itself. It's about Logan. It's about Logan. If Logan's fine, then whatever, man. That they lost, it happens. Bounce back, win tomorrow. If he's out for a while, I mean, maybe Emerson Hancock looks better, right? Maybe there's something there. Kirby hopefully back soon. You can get through it. But I'm just kind of gutted right now, and again, it's not a negativity. Like, I'm not trying to put negative vibes out there. I'm, like I said, hoping and praying Logan's, it's just something that he can get through and is okay. But, it's just hard not to think of something like that and, get the negative thoughts about it. So, and like I said, it's tough for the guys too. It's why I'm not going to get on them too much for losing that game. That's a tough spot for the entire team to deal with that stuff. So, definitely, a winnable game. It's frustrating they lost. It would have been nice when Logan got hurt if they could have battled back and, won it for Logan. That would have been fantastic. I'd have been happy with the win. But, it just wasn't in the cards tonight, unfortunately. But, shout out to Casey Lawrence for pitching, 4, 5, 6, 4 innings of relief. I know he gives up technically 8 runs, but only 2 of them were earned. I don't think he was great or anything, but, he did what he needed to do in that spot. Again, I don't know if he should have been back out there for the 8th, 6-4. I think you maybe try to go to a little bit of a leverage reliever there and see if the offense can get back in it. The bats were okay. They scored 4 runs. That's not terrible. Dylan Moore does homer, continues to stay out the bat. That error was just, make that play and they might win this game. He also had a terrible at bat after Rowdy's double on the first pitch. They just missed a couple more home runs. Rayleigh and Rowdy missed a home run each by an inch. Tough game to judge because Cal Quantrill is absolutely horrifically awful. He might be the worst starting pitcher in baseball, to be honest. And I never want to be too harsh on players. Like, he is a Major League Baseball pitcher. All these guys are absolutely ridiculously elite at baseball. You are watching the top 0.000001% of baseball players in the world playing. So, he's still a Major League pitcher, but he's not good. The Mariners did get 4 runs off of him. Thought some of the at-bats early on weren't great. I thought they were looked like they kind of went up there going, hey, this pitcher stinks. We can just hit a bunch of balls out of the park. The at-bats and the approaches didn't look great. But also you can make the point that, Quantrill doesn't walk a ton of guys. So you're going up there, you're trying to hit. And who cares about driving up his pitch count, right? Like against Garrett Crochet, it makes some sense because you want him out. With Quantrill, I mean, who cares if he's at 30 pitches through 5 innings? Keep trying to tee off on the guy. So, kind of a mixed bag offensively. They left some stuff out there, but still some, decent at-bats overall. Not anything. I don't know. Like, it's, I don't want to say it's like the best I had felt about this team, like ever or anything like that. But, because last year they had a 10-game lead at one point. I felt really good at that point. But just such a great road trip. Coming home for a winnable series. You got Logan on the mound. He looks dialed in early in this game. Dylan goes deep. It's like they're going to win this thing. They're going to get runs off Quantrill. Logan's giving you 6-7 shutout innings today, and they're going to win, and they're going to be 15-11. And then just, hopefully Logan's okay. I've said that 20 times now. Oh, man, Luis Castillo tomorrow. Hopefully they can bounce back and get a W. And then, hopefully they get some guys healthy here and can get back into it. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.